Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here, back with another video, and welcome to the fourth and final part. I hope I put the right title in of sorry, just checking I put the right title in. Yep, part 4 of how I think dyslexics could potentially benefit Italian football teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan and Roma, excuse me. Technically, well, it is Tuesday. I was going to say technically it's Tuesday, but I didn't get around to finishing it, so I thought I'd finish part 4 today. I'm dyslexic. I need extra time, as I sometimes blamely joke. But anyway, yeah, this week I've been trying to think about what we could do to benefit Italian football. I'm trying to come up with excuse me, new ideas. But I was just laughing before I made this video as well, because I saw my cat in this I describe it like in a box, and it was just sitting there. I was wondering where my cat was, and then he was just sitting there in a box, and he looked like he was smiling at me. Bless him. I still remember my other cat, Panda, who passed away, and it's a bit sad every time I think about him. I wouldn't say I tear up, but I just feel a bit sad about remembering Panda. But anyway, bless him. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I thought I'd finish part 4, as I say. A bit behind schedule. It took me a while to get my butt and the rest of me out of bed. But for the thumbnail for YouTube, I was gonna do one where I take a sip of my tea. But I couldn't be bothered to wait for my tea. Well, I wanted to quickly do it because I was in a bit of a rush, so I thought I'd do that before I finish making my tea or whatever. Waiting for my tea to brew. Nice slides right now, as usual. But here goes. These are points number 31 to 40. I hope you enjoy them, and I'd love to know, as I said before, like as I've asked before, please do get involved in the comments and let me know how you think dyslexic thinking and whatnot could benefit Italian teams, Italian soccer teams like AC Monza, Inter Milan, and AC Milan as well, AC Milan, Roma, as well as like Celtic, Queen, which might be Celtic, and that kind of thing. How could our dyslexic ideas, creativity, imagination, whatever, benefit such? I was just reading something funny enough about sports stars with dyslexia on Made by Dyslexia Facebook page, and Made by Dyslexia does some great work. But here goes. So number 31. On that note, I know I talked about how I'd love to bring together Made by Dyslexia, the Yale Centre for Dyslexia and Creativity, Dyslexic Advantage, the Childmind Institute, maybe even, and Understood, and other organisations which work with dyslexics and people with related conditions. They're the main ones I can think of, but also dyslexic individuals, and basically all possible dyslexic individuals, organisations, all those who want to see a brighter future for dyslexics and dyslexics to believe in each other and ourselves. By the way, I forgot to say in the intro that for this one, I want to talk about what I hope to achieve in the future, as I normally do, which makes it easier. I do try and mix it up a bit, but I thought that would be the easy way of doing it. So in the future, hopefully, I'll bring those organisations together, working together with others. Teamwork makes the dream work. So I hope to encourage them really to come together and show what we can do, and hopefully benefit Italian football teams and get them back to the top, bringing in the best possible players, coaches, managers, directors of football, dietitians, and that kind of thing, as I talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3, and yeah, doing whatever we can to benefit Italian football with our ideas and creativity, imagination, whatever. So yeah, hopefully we'll bring Italian football back to the top, and that can be something that dyslexics can be proud to be part of. Hopefully, I'd like to think so anyway, and including myself. It could be part of our life mission and life purpose. I suppose you could say legacy, but I prefer to say life purpose and mission in a way. When I say legacy, I mean life purpose and mission or whatever. I was thinking I often think like with robots and all that kind of thing. People say, "Oh, it's going to take our jobs and it's going to take our purpose." And I think if you're creative, you can. The beauty of dyslexia being that most of us are creative, not all of us, but it affects us differently. Some dyslexics probably are not creative at all, but they have probably other strengths, as probably everyone does, really, whether they're dyslexic or not. But the beauty is you can create your own purpose. And I look around the world and I think, how can you not have a purpose? Well, that's helping the homeless, helping people to be more positive, writing, making videos, talking to people, listening to people, or whatever. There's so many different purposes out there. So I think we should be able to find purpose. Although I understand the struggles that people would have to just pay their bills. Sorry, Struggling words out. Struggling to think about what I'm trying to say. I think that's another thing. Like with my thoughts go so quick that I know most people are like that, but especially dyslexics. I think my thoughts go so quickly. That's why we struggle with. Part of the reason why we struggle with writing and talking and things like that. I know I have different struggles to most dyslexics, but like my punctuation is not a dyslexia thing. I don't know what's wrong with me, but where do we start? But anyway, moving on that note, number 32. So yeah, hopefully we can help with time football teams to get back to the top and be proud to do so. And similar with dyscalculics, it could give us a purpose in life. As I'm not sure whether I'm dyscalculic or not. Pretty sure I'm dyslexic and dyspraxic, but could be dyscalculic and even dysgraphic, because I do have people tell me my handwriting is really bad. It doesn't look bad to me normally, but for other people it does. I like it, but other people don't. So I do want to please other people. Obviously, they're the ones if they're going to read it or whatever. So, the other thing is, I kept forgetting to say. Sadly, funny and sadly enough, in parts 1, 2, and 3, I think that I had this dilemma that I got an idea for a crocodile movie called Crocodilian, a creature feature, and I want it to be a certain way. And an editor, my friend Richard, an editor, who I met through talking about that idea actually, and talking about dyslexia and other people with related conditions, other neurodiverse people, and I want to focus more on the dyslexia sort of thing this month, but. And dyscalculia and that kind of thing, the ones that begin with D, basically, as it's December, my use of alliteration. But I kept forgetting to say about how and this is a problem I have quite a lot with like WhatsApp groups and whatever, and with Facebook groups and pages. So please forgive me if I do, for those on my Facebook list, if I do send too many, please do forgive me. But I do get carried away. But and then I get overwhelmed myself when other people do that to me. So, yeah, if someone gave me a large block of text to read, I wouldn't really want to read it. But then I'm guilty of doing the same thing. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite sometimes. But yeah, I do try and keep things short and sweet. But yeah, I was thinking that, on that note, I was thinking that I love to share all these videos that I've seen. I get so many recommendations, like Facebook and YouTube are very clever at that, obviously, and even Google. Technology nowadays, where, or for a long time it's been that way, obviously, where if you type something in, they keep sending the same information on that related to that topic, which I don't blame them for. That's business. I'd probably do the same, to be honest. And people might find it annoying, but I suppose it's up to you whether you ignore it or whatever, or get distracted by it or by those things or whatever. But obviously they're going to try and sell things. I'd say that's business, that's life, and that's business especially. But just like I'm trying to do with trying to get people to find my content and that kind of thing. But on that note, trying to get to the point. So, but yeah, I kept forgetting to mention that, like, I wanted to share all the different videos that have been recommended to me on Facebook videos, and also like things on YouTube that I've seen about crocodile and alligator stories, like the videos. Some of them really sad, like people being eaten, like a lady being taken into a lake with her dog, unfortunately, which is very sad. In real life, I don't really like to see people suffering, but it's interesting that I come up with horror and thriller films, but that's where my brain works, I guess. I am quite an anxious person in many ways, but anywho, so yeah, I wanted to share those videos, like about I know I mentioned it to him, but I saw it briefly and I didn't have the attention span to watch it all, but there was something and I thought, this has got to be a horror movie here. It reminds me of The Hills Have Eyes, but with a crocodile version, because it was about man-eating crocodiles thriving in a nuclear reactor. And I thought there's got to be something in there, because that reminds me of the theme of not Little Hill, the theme of The Hills Have Eyes. That's it. But that's also with humans. But this is probably even more scary because it's with crocs. But yeah, so it's a long winding way of me saying that I want to share it with him, all those videos, but at the same time, maybe I should just copy and paste the whole link and then show them. But I don't want to overwhelm him with so many, and I've been guilty of that. Like, I think he didn't want to tell me, but he sort of said it in a roundabout way that I sent him too much info. But moving on, number 33, for scary, on the subject of scary movies and horror movies, thrillers and all that kind of. If I made any in the future, any money I would make, let's say if I did go viral, if I did the equivalent of going viral, if my movies became really popular and they sold millions of copies or whatever, millions of videos, that'd be pretty cool. my dream. But it'll be quite ironic because I don't really watch movies myself. But what I was going to say is, if I made money from movies, horror movies, thriller movies, reacting to scary movies, reacting to scary things on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or wherever else, I would donate whatever money I make to AC Milan, because AC Milan's nickname is the Devils, and it was founded actually by an English guy called Herbert Kilpin, I think. Herbert Kilpin or something like that, from Nottingham, funny enough, which is not too far from where I grew up. That's where one of my sisters lives, somewhere in Nottingham. But and one of my sisters studied there. But anyway, and I spent a long time in Nottingham as well. But yeah, somewhere in the East Midlands of England, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, so that's why they have an English flag as well. Although obviously they're an Italian team, but a lot of teams have an English connection. I think Barcelona is another one. It was in Spain, but and I think Genoa, and also in Italy, and one or two others, I think. But yeah, it's the idea is, he said, we'll be a team of devils that puts fear into our opposition, and we will what's the word? It's something that, yeah, we'll be black as people's nightmares and red as people's fears. I think it's something to do with the saying. I know there's a YouTube channel which says something like black as your fear and red as your nightmares, or vice versa. So yeah, if I made any money from like reacting to scary videos, making my own scary movies, horror movies, thrillers and whatever, Crocodilian, The Monster, and many others that I want to make. And I love to collaborate with my fellow dyslexics and others with related conditions on that note. But yeah, if I could, I'd donate as much of that money as possible to AC Milan specifically. Yeah, so movies and reaction videos I make on Halloween and Friday the 13th and all that kind of thing, I'd love to donate that to AC Milan if I made any money from them, if they went viral. Hopefully that would encourage at least AC Milan fans to check them out, because the money would go back into the club if I made any money from them. Moving on, number 34. So yeah, I forgot a lot of those things I wanted to cover. I'm hoping I didn't forget too much other stuff. In fact, that just reminded me, in point number 31, I meant to say, I think I would have said this 3 or 4 times in point number 8, point number 18. Initially I was going to say in point number 8, then I forgot. So I thought I'd say it. I'd make up for lost time. And talking of which, so yeah, I wanted to say about how I'd love to, I know I mentioned it in point number 18, and I think in point number 28, I think I remembered to say it, thankfully, but I was going to say in point number 31, but that is, I'd love to help Italy to fundraise to have football pitches and give young people opportunities in Italy, including migrants and people with dyslexia and others, people with mental health problems even, dyscalculics and whatever, as much as possible, to practice different skills, and with trial and error and that kind of thing. And watching videos of Ronaldinho, Zidane and players like that, helping Italian football to become more skillful and attacking. I'll drink that, as I say. Excuse me. But I'd love for Italy to make, as I put it, make Monday, make or create, and I like to say produce normally. On Mondays I like to say make or create, but on other days I like to say produce. All of those terms really: make, create, produce, or however you want to put it. The next Messi, Ronaldo, the 2 Ronnies, and basically the next best players in all different positions. The next Pele. How can Italy have the next Pele? Given that Pele was black, like some of the migrants could be included, Kante and players like that, having more migration and things like that, preferably legally, inviting those in with a skill and talent for football and that kind of thing, and including dyslexics and even my fellow Anglo-Indians, AIs and Eurasians generally, hopefully will have skills and practice those skills, and hopefully that will mean Italian football will be more skillful. So I'd love for Italy to be the most skillful league, and I know defence is important, but I'd love for it to become more attacking. Funny enough, AC Milan used to be very attacking. Back in the day, they were one of the few Italian teams that would actually attack, unlike other Italian teams which were more defensive. And it led to a lot of success, to be fair. Under Silvio Berlusconi, they bought loads of great players, and I'd love to bring back those glory days to Italian teams like AC Milan and Roma, AC Monza, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, and all the other Italian teams as well. Number 35, So yeah, I hope to encourage as many dyslexics, dyscalculics. Funny enough, I was going to say life is a numbers game. I was thinking of some jokes about funny, but some humorous stuff at least about like ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3, unless you're dyslexic and dyscalculic, which both are difficult. Lame attempts at humor. Or something like extra time, football and extra time, and that kind of thing. But I might cover those a different day, like on Fridays, when I try and be more fun and have humour if I can. Okay, but moving on, number 36. So yeah, in my vision, I'd love to see dyslexics, dyscalculics, dysgraphics, maybe even dyspraxics, people with mental health problems, and also, whenever it's safe to do so, being given a purpose with football, and also my fellow Eurasians, Anglo-Indians, Indos, Kristangs, and others playing football and trying different skills with Italian players and hopefully developing those skills. So hopefully Italian football can become really cool and skillful, more attacking, and produce, as I say, make, create, produce, or whichever term you want to use. Which term do you prefer? I'd love to know. Make, create, produce, or maybe a different term altogether. The next Pele, Messi, Maradona, Ronnie, the two Ronnies as I call them, Ronaldo and R9 and the Portuguese version, the best goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, strikers and whatnot. I was going to say R9 again, I already mentioned it, but yeah, so how can Italy produce those players, including in places like Monza, Milan, Rome, and places like that, as I mentioned before. Yeah, hopefully Italian football will be seen as cool and sexy. One of the things they could market is, I think, the colour of their kits. Maybe obviously I'm a bit biased in this, but I think they have the best kits, even though I'm not normally into fashion. Number 37. And also, I dream, I say that they have loads of pitches and things like that, and they'll practice, including like 5, 6, and 7-a-side pitches, especially at youth level with Celtic as well. So I dream that's like Italian football teams, especially at youth level, Celtic, my fellow Eurasians, Anglo-Indians and other Eurasians, maybe even mixed race people generally, dyslexics, dyspraxics to an extent, especially dyscalculics, dysgraphics, and people with mental health problems will have a purpose and will find, talking about purpose and like how AI, people say robots can take away our purpose by doing all the work. But to me, they should free us up to do things we love. And on that note, number 38, that reminds me of something else I forgot to say, I think. I was trying to build up to it, but I would love to travel with dyslexic individuals and organisations to places like Monza and Milan and Rome and Celtic and Glasgow Celtic, and talk about our ideas and what we could do both on and off the pitch to benefit them, like financially, fundraising for them, fundraising to have more pitches, funding more young Italians, especially, to play football and practice again and to watch. Even sometimes it could be like things like watching videos. I think people think it's always got to be hard and difficult. Maybe there is an easy way to do things, like maybe like your homework is to watch football and analyse players like Zidane, Zizou, Ronaldo, Pele, and players like that from YouTube videos and things like that, TikTok, YouTube and whatnot, and say, and even Facebook, and say like, we're going to copy those skills and see if we can practice them. And if being allowed to make mistakes, as I said before, like the freedom to fail, it gives you the chance to make to succeed in the long term. And on that note, as I say, once again, how can Italy make / create / produce the next best players, the next Pele, Ronaldo, Maradona, Messi, and so on and so forth. Georgie Best and players like that. So yeah, copying those players and trying those skills. And if you make a mistake, saying, okay, try another skill. And when you have to defend against that, I normally play, when I do play, I haven't played for a long time, but I normally play in a defensive pitch. I was wondering as well how much of my strategies I should give away, but I know I talk a bit too much, but a lot too much. But if you're a defender and a player has a skill, maybe you think, oh yeah, I've got the best of this striker now, or I've got the best of this midfielder. I've already got the ball off them once, I can do it again. I often, when I was playing football back in the day, when I used to grow up in Leicestershire, Victoria Park in Leicestershire, I used to think if someone got past me, that means they're better than me, rather than think, oh, next time I'll learn from that. And if I remember correctly, but if you are a defender, you might think, oh, well, I've got this player's card marked, I've tackled them, but then they try a different skill, and if they have loads of skills, a field of tricks, not just a one-trick pony, but having multiple tricks and that kind of thing, then it's much harder to defend against. And unpredictability, again, not wanting to give too much away, but yeah, maybe being versatile as well, like trying different things, not just skills, but different strategies about like defending at times, attacking at times. Sometimes keeping the ball, sometimes pressing the opposition, sometimes sitting back, sometimes going forward, sometimes taking a break and taking it easier, and sometimes actually not running all the time and play using your teammates and things like that. Yeah, I wasn't sure where to mention this, but Victoria Park was a very, it probably still is, but it was a very diverse area. I used to play football with people from Algeria, Spain, Turkey, and all over the place, Morocco and places like that. So yeah, it was very diverse back in the day. It probably still is, but I know they celebrated when Leicester won the league and everyone was on a party. Pretty cool. Victoria Park was one of the main places. But yeah, as I used to grow up there, but I used to play football there every Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, I think another irony is someone who never made it pro, but having all these ideas, which I mentioned before, like I think I can be thick as 2 short planks, or even every plank of wood in the world, short or long, and put together, especially thick ones. But yeah, I still believe I could help Italian football to become number 1, and if not, I suppose other dyslexics could do a lot better as well, both in terms of financing it, like dyslexic entrepreneurs investing into and sponsoring Italian football and Celtic, but also in terms of skills and things like that and helping them to practice. I'd love for, as I say, Italian football and Celtic to have their own miniature World Cup versions of like the Dyslexic World Cup, the Dyscalculic World Cup and things like that, Mental World Cup and that kind of thing. I know there's already like things like the Homeless World Cup, but moving on to 39, I'd say by the end of, let's say ASAP, I'm not a deadline necessarily, I would say 2030, but preferably before then. Certainly I'd like to start at ASAP, hopefully in 2026 to get the ball rolling and hopefully exceed expectations, but maybe a target could be 2030, which is like a nice rounded number. Hopefully I would be able to put as many of these ideas into action as possible. I'd love to, as they have, make blockbuster movies, horrors and thrillers, and use the money to fundraise for AC Milan and that kind of thing. I was questioning myself in my own mind, head, or whatever the difference is, but brain, head, mind, I get those terms mixed up. But is there any difference? If there is, please let me know what the difference between those are. But anyway, I was thinking that like I would donate, like say if I made Crocodilian and it became successful, or if I made Monster and it made loads of money, if it made millions or even billions, if I'm really dreaming, if I made the next DreamWorks with my fellow dyslexics, the reason, what I was thinking is on that note, is like if it involved other dyslexics and people with related conditions or whatever, then I guess the profits wouldn't all be mine. But whatever profits I made personally from them, I would donate to AC Milan. Obviously, if other people were involved, like if people were financing them or whatever, they would take some of that money as well. And number 40, I hope that would make sense. But yeah, in the future, I dream to bring together all possible dyslexic individuals and groups. I'll probably mention that quite a few times this month, and in the future as well, especially for October and December. But maybe by next October, that could, or maybe August, which is my birth month, or in October, which is the Dyslexia Awareness Month, and for next December, hopefully all 3 of those months, August, October and December, due to my patterns, for August to be an equal number, but yeah, sorry, that's a strange pattern of mine, but yeah, so it's to put together dyslexic groups, and even in August and November putting like neurodiverse group more generally to go to Italy and to work with Celtic as well. As many people as I can get, as they say, life is a numbers game, even if you're dyscalculic, I'm afraid. But anyway, I'm out in peace as well.